Hello, everyone. Already got the link posted somewhere up there. Come on in if you so choose. Long day at work today. Very hot day here. Lots of bearding and stuff going on. So I have ordered some queens. Yep, ordered some queens. They are. And right on cue, look who's calling me. Sam Godwin. Gonna have to ignore you right now, Mr. Sam. Sorry about that. But I just ordered 50 queens. So from what I gather, they'll be getting sent out on Wednesday, and I should get them Thursday. So I've got a bit of work to do. But so we're gonna try to oh, here he comes. Here comes the Inquisition.
Inquisition.
No, so where were you on the night of the 21st? No,
I was gonna say it's about time you got rid of those mean bees.
So I'm gonna do a couple of things. So I'm gonna do a little bit of bradding. So bradding. I'm sure. See, we just coined that. It's like a Canadian zombie hives. So my existing queens, aside from the mean couple, but the existing queens are going to get moved into nukes. My new queens are going to go in my production colonies. So all of my production colonies will be guaranteed 100% first year queens, all the same age, all the same stock. There won't be any diversity in my yard from that aspect. The other option is to keep all my existing queens where they're at, except for the mean ones, and put the new queens into nuke boxes for themselves. So this is where James comes in to give me his professional opinion.
Well, I don't know about professional. Well, it's interesting. I mean, try it. What do you got to lose, right?
$1,000 is what I got to lose.
I still think part of your reason for your bees the way they are is
too close together.
So you have bees that have no choice but to protect the hive from other bees, other pests, everything. They're competing for the little bit of nectar that is around there. And as such, I think is creating the aggressiveness of your bee behavior.
Well, like today, I mean, I had I treated some M's yesterday, some mites. I did a mite treatment yesterday, and I am surprised because I had an entrance reducer on the colony, and it just had the little small entrance of the reducer on there. And they had taken that stick and they had it about 3/4 of the way out. And I'm like, how in the world can those bees grab a popsicle stick with treatment on it and they just move it along like the Egyptians building a pyramid until it's finally out of the... So I plopped it back in there today. So that was one of them. But with that being said, my hands were right in front of the hives and no issues. But there was a special on queens, which kind of prompted this whole thing. And it was like, because we've talked about this. Do I order them? Do I not order them? And when they were reduced price, I was like, do it, And so Jose's marketing paid off, I guess. and so I just pulled the trigger on it. So
well, you never know until you try it. So that's what I keep telling people. Don't be afraid to try something.
Well, some of those mean bees are in like triple deep nukes, right? So
these are all mated queens, right?
Yes.
So you're not going to end up with that your hot genetics in there, so you should be okay. But I really, and that's just, you asked my opinion. My opinion is I think the intense competition is creating part of your behavior of the bees that you have there. Yeah.
So I've got some places that have told me I can put bees on them, but they always say you can put bees on them till you show up with bees. So that's kind of, oh, there went James. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, is mainly, I mean, I've got a couple months left of very warm temperature here. So as far as getting them to lay, not a problem. Just getting them accepted is going to be the probably the challenge right now. But you know, if you make them queenless, they don't really have much choice but to take that queen or none, right? So that's what we're looking at. No, Todd, he was out of carnies. All he had was the Italians left. So he started the day with 2,000 queens, and when I talked to him, he only had 500 left. So he'd already sold 1,500 queens. And then anything that I can't use or have left over, I'll either probably sell to my mentor or someone local, probably. Larry, how's it going?
Good evening, Bob. I thought you was coming on tomorrow night. I didn't know you were coming on tonight.
Tomorrow night's the show.
It is every night.
Never. I took an old man nap and got up, and I was like, what's going on? And everybody was kind of hanging out, and I decided to pop in and you know,
I just sat down watching a good old Yul Brynner Western, one I don't think I've ever seen. I've seen about all of them, but I got a notice that you were coming on. I said, what the heck? I'm going to go on to
the, you know,
Charlie.
33 people watching and only 9 thumbs up. Come on. That's free. That's a free thing. You can just hit the button at the bottom. So
I caught a swarm, got home with it, and I had a swarm. I got some in the trees, and I didn't even shake them.
You didn't? Well, you didn't do like me, shake them into the trees. And I don't get it, because like the recent ones, I catch them, they move into a box, and they stay there for a day or day and a half, and then they leave again. They just take off. So
that's a mirror image of my bee yard.
So maybe they're just like, you know what? Maybe it's just this lot that's too hot. Maybe there's too many bees in the yard, that they're just like, you know what? There's 53 more of them over there. Let's just move down the road a little bit. So don't know.
I don't know, but the swarm I caught was about 6 miles from the house, so I know they wasn't mine. And why did they leave? I mean, I don't know. It's bees do what bees do. I don't see how you can be a master beekeeper, because nobody knows everything about them.
What's a piece of paper? So it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Did you get your uncapper put back together?
Yes and no. So got her all put back together. A couple minor little tweaks there. So actually, Alan was just here. He's running out to the machine shop to grab a couple of the pieces that they tweaked for us, and then we should be good to go.
Nice. Did you so you did send me a message, or actually you told me how much you pulled yesterday, and you're not done pulling. How much did you pull yesterday?
Just under 5,000 pounds yesterday.
Wow. Ugh. Hey, James, did you have a lot of those parts powder coated?
Just the outside, just the main outside pieces. And the powder coat shop only had a couple colors of powder coat that were food safe. So kind of limited.
Should have got blue.
He did get blue.
It is blue, yeah, and it's a Cowan blue. Yeah.
I'm colorblind.
Oh,
That powder coating, that's the ticket. I don't see how you can get much better than that. But,
Yeah.
20 years from now, it'll be obsolete.
Yeah, I suppose.
they'll have laser coat by then. It'll just be
Yeah.
perfect, good to go.
Yeah, no. Well, anything that's not powder coated on there now is stainless steel. So we should be in good shape.
The
Well,
powder coating's the next thing to porcelain.
Pretty close. Well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't replaced the chains yet. So the chains are still the original Cowan chains. I have priced out the stainless steel chains for it. So the two main chains, that's almost $800, and I think it was $833. The other ones, I think, by the time I replaced the ball, it was just over $1,000 worth of chains. So,
And why do they cost so
Wow.
much? Why so high?
stainless.
Huh?
Well, the main ones, they're so high because they're a hollow pin. So they're a hollow pin so that the crossbars can go in there. Those are the expensive ones. That's the $833 for 6 feet.
And
of
that's
chain, basically.
because they're stainless, you say?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I missed that part.
The
I was thinking about you, Charlie, last night.
Oh, yeah.
I got me a bag of popcorn, put it in the microwave. Good to go. It was good.
So I did pull the rest of those boxes. I got one colony that's got a bee escape on it. I'll get that off tomorrow and get the rest of those out of there. And then we'll be ready to start Operation H2O, feeding.
Yeah. Well, I got feeder pails on some of them out there already. The rest of them will get feeder pails probably within the next day or two, as soon as I get the rest of the honey off. But yeah, yesterday we had the pickup truck, as much as it would carry it, 2 big full loads, we brought in. So now I got to get it all spun. So
12 frames at a time.
12 frames at a time.
It's like the 12-step program, just 12 frames at a time.
You know what? Every time I do 12 frames, that's 12 frames less.
That's true. And I just like to poke fun at you. That's it. You're killing me on.
Is this canola honey, James, or is this something different?
No, what we pulled yesterday was all clover and alfalfa honey.
Mm-hmm.
So the canola honey, I already had. What did we have? The first pull of the canola honey, I think we pulled. Geez, I'd have to go take a look at it again. I think there was 4,800 pounds of the canola honey the first pull. And then I got, there's probably still 40. There's probably still about, somewhere between 40 and 45 boxes of canola honey out there. And there's probably still an additional, I don't know, 30, maybe 30 boxes of clover and alfalfa yet to come in.
Well, with the canola, I understand it'll crystallize right in the frames and stuff like that. So are you like trying to get that in there as quick as possible
Absolutely.
because of that?
That's why I've already done one pull of the canola. So, and canola is kind of an interesting one. So I don't go anywhere without my hydrometer out there just to make sure that I've got the right water content. But the water content of the canola honey, they start to cap around the top, and I find you're below the 18% by the time they're starting to cap the top, which means you can pull it in. And of course, then by the time that the top is capped, it's below the 18%. If the other is just a little bit higher, you take the average, and I'm still averaging. I think my canola averaged 16.8. So,
well, that was what I seen with Ian, that he had that, like you said, it was about a 3 or 4 inch strip of cappings on the top. And he said, all right, it's good. So obviously, they kind of, that's an indicator of that, like for us, where it's fully capped, it's dry per se.
Yep.
And all that.
So some of what I pulled yesterday, because we're into the full on dearth, there's nothing coming up here. So some of what I pulled yesterday wasn't capped. It was a little higher than 18%. So I got the dehumidifier going in the garage and the fans and stuff going in the garage right now. And the dehumidifier, the garden hose coming out of the dehumidifier is pretty much a constant stream, down the driveway there. So it's pulling that humidity out. Am I selling to the co-op? So I've made my application to the co-op. I have not heard from them yet. So I have, I've called the meadery and a few other places. So we'll see. I probably can sell everything that I've got this year. And once again, my crop is a little bit lower than it should be, simply because, I once again, this year, I very aggressively split bees, so in some cases, I have some colonies out there that, I've split 4+ times, right? So aggressively increasing my hive number this year. So of course, as you know, all of it was foundation. So a pile of honey went into drawing that comb.
Well, you got
next year, however, is going to be a different story. So I should have.
Yeah, but you're right. What is it? 9,000 pounds right now?
Yeah, be somewhere around there. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
lightweight. I know real Canadians that have like tons of honey right now.
I'm still, I still don't have a whole bunch.
He's got 5 tons now.
Next year is going to be a game changer for me. So I've got big hopes for next year.
That's the
well, you're bringing in even more. So I think you were predicting somewhere around 14,000 pounds or something like that, right?
Correct. Yep.
So, and then you were saying that you can definitely sell locally around 4, and then you can take the other if they accept you. I'm sure they're going to accept you, I guess. I don't know whether whether or not the co-op is
just have Ian make that call.
Well,
hey, you got an application on your desk. You need to go ahead and just sign it and send it on.
I had a pretty good recommendation, so I think it's just a matter of giving them a bit of time to get through the paperwork.
Not to mention,
but hopefully it isn't a bunch of pinheads that are locally around you.
No.
Hashtag James 40,000 pounds in 2024. Todd says.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So, how many hives did I make it to? I honestly can't tell you. So, because I haven't counted. The one thing that I can tell you is, well, as everybody knows, Brad sent some pallets back with me. So I haven't got those full yet.
But you're plus 200, over 200.
Yeah, once again, I haven't counted. I really couldn't tell you. I haven't counted. I do know all of my equipment is full. So,
well, I'll tell you what. When I was extracting those honey frames out yesterday, and I'm sitting there with those damn plastic frames, I think I'm turning to the dark side on the plastic frames. Well,
I told you.
I really like them in the hive. However, extraction equipment was not designed for plastic frames, or plastic frames didn't take into consideration. Oh yeah, well, the equipment, dimensions are just off a little bit, like on the dog ears and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it makes it a little bit more challenging. You'll get to a point in there with the wooden frame, I can push it all the way through. With the plastic frame, it'll get down and it'll just drop down. And it's like, I can't have that. So, but yeah, I'm working on it. I'm retooling as I go. So I don't see many more medium boxes in my future. Actually, I don't see any medium boxes in my future. So it's going to be changing around. What I've got, I'm going to use until I can't use them no more, and then it's done.
I like Flip.
What's it? What is it?
Farm.
Hello, my name is Flip, and I have no life. Yep. Nor do we.
I can't see the comments. I'm actually on my phone here, so I do probably have to get going here pretty quickly. So I just thought I'd pop in and say good on you for finally doing something about those mean bees.
We'll see you Friday, right?
The 4-Hers are coming in on Friday, so everybody be on your best behavior. So they're pretty good, smart bunch of kids. And actually, they have their sale tomorrow. So
they might be a little bit richer as a club.
Oh, I think they will. They got some. They aside from the honey, and they creamed a bunch of honey. So they got honey. They got creamed honey. They made what do you call them? Wraps, like cloth beeswax wraps. They made candles. They've got resin bees. They're selling all of this at the
How did their candles come out?
What's that?
How did their candles come out? They were making.
Actually, their candles came out really well. So forget how many she had. 30. I think she got 30 or 35 candles out of the cappings from what they had this year. So that worked out well. I may have had to donate a little bit of wax to get them enough wax to do everything. But that's part of being a mentor, right?
Yep. Well, sounds like they're well.
If they have anything left over, James, let them. Bring some samples and they can show them on the, on the Friday night show.
Absolutely, will do.
And all that stuff. So,
you ever used a pair of 10X binoculars?
Pair what?
10X.
Oh yes.
Not 4X, not 12. And I'm talking 10X binoculars.
Yep.
I can sit here on this bed, look out my window into my glass beehive, and single in on the queen.
Nice.
I'm a weirdo, ain't I? In the house, looking at an observation hive in the adjoining glass room out this window, and I can't quit looking at it. I think I'm going to box that queen up and them bees and take them to Seth when I go see him this fall, probably. I got news, Bob.
You got news?
Yeah, but I didn't mean to cut Charlie off if he was talking. I was going to say something.
No worries, and I'm just going to I'm going to duck out here, guys. So have a good evening. I got it.
Good to see you, Mr. McNally.
Hey, James, if you can text me the name of their club or whatever they have.
Absolutely. Actually, what I'll do is I'll take a short video for you there tomorrow too, and maybe I'll send that down to you as well. I'm
not sure how I'm going to use that.
Don't worry, just send it. I'll be in there. I know how to add it. Or you can send it to me and I can add it. One of the two.
Already? Nope, that sounds good. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, James.
So I get into my leftovers. As you know, bullet test done good. I needed to find a way to make it last longer, and at the same time, I want to use it as a treatment, as I do. I want to be able to do that, and so I took some very small plastic. We're all old here. Tupperware like bowl, and I put a screen over top of it and bent it over top of it. But inside of it, I put like a tablespoon of the magic crystals, we will say, and then I started adding an ounce at a time of my solution that I'd come up with, which today was peppermint extract, some lemongrass oil, and because the extract has the alcohol in it, it helps it. And if I see that it's not, I'll have some anhydrous denatured alcohol here I can use to really mix it and make it turn into an extract if I want to, or for tinctures, whatever. But anyway, yes, Bob, perfect. And the one I told you I used in the ashtray,
right?
Well, I went back to it, and it was amazing to me because when I put the solution in it, this stuff was a mountain in this ashtray. It's an ashtray about the size of this one, one of these. I just used it to sit in. But anyway, man, there was just like dust in there. Just you barely could even see them again. They had went back to nothing. And so I added just 1 ounce and let them swell back up, and then add another ounce, and then I started going from there. And really, there's no telling what you can do with that and how long you can make them last, because that ashtray lasted 2.5 weeks, man.
What
Before it,
about putting it in a beetle trap? You know, the beetle traps that sit in between the frames.
that would be, Bob, that's genius. That's great. That's absolutely beautiful.
Because it's
I
mostly
love it.
enclosed, but it still leaves ventilation, and hell,
That's all
might
you
get a
need.
beetle just to fall in.
Oh yeah, it's going to continue to. I mean, it has no choice. I mean, it just wants to be a part of that hot, that I don't know, humidity and heat in the hive. It just wants to go with it. I haven't had any just stay there. It always dehydrates into dust, and so did that ashtray. And I've refilled it up, and I made another one out of. I'm just taking little dishes and putting the wire over them so no bees can get to it, and just setting it in there. And I was tickled. I was tickled with what I seen today, and I was tickled with how it's working. And I'm tickled to be using it in something larger, man. And I think that beetle gel idea, Charlie, did you come up with that, or was that his?
What's that?
That beetle gel idea was brilliant. That right there is where it's at. That's going to make it. If I was in Bob's shoes, I probably would market that. I would load them up. I would load those beetle gels up, and I would.
Earl, I got to show you something.
That will work, Bob. That will work. I just put all mine in today, man. Again, wow, 600 each. He says.
They're 7 pounds of peppermints at Sam's Club for $7.98. So I bought 15 pounds of peppermint candy.
You need to call some of the youngins up at Boy Yarn and whatever. Lie to them, tell them you're having a big barbecue and got plenty of beer. When they get there, tell them you need help shelling out them peppermints. Put them in a jar or something.
Well, I was thinking about this, and this may be something you've tried before. I was thinking about unwrapping a ton of them, putting them on a cookie sheet, putting them in the oven and on a low temperature and melting them out into a big piece of crack, basically.
You can.
And then just cool them down in the refrigerator or freezer till it hardens back, and then smash it with the.
If you're going to do that, just make your own, bro. I've made them. Of course, I gave them out at Hive Life, but you just have to take like regular sugar and then add glucose to it, because you got to have glucose to crystallize, make it harder. And so you raise that glucose level, and that'll give you a good crispy hard candy. You can just add your own peppermint to it after it cools down under 100 degrees. Otherwise, it seems to me if you add it while it's boiling, you always end up with like the kind of candy you buy. It don't ever get no hotter. No matter, you can put all you want to in it, but it just boils out or something. But after it cools down and adding it to it, you can stiffen it up all you want.
And then I got I outlaw treated the mites yesterday. So
I don't think there's no such thing as that, but okay.
Well,
you do what you got to do, man.
I'll say like Todd said, I off-label treated my mites yesterday. So I did that to buy some time, right? So I treated them, give them a week or until the weekend, and then I can go ahead and slap the Apivar strips in them. Yep, I said the M word. Where's the change jar? Drop it in there.
I ain't been around in a long time. Is that a new thing? Well, is a swear word now?
Yeah, kind of. Almost on the channel, I just felt like everybody talks about Mite all the time. That everybody should be aware of it by now.
Yeah.
So
that's really why I started saying, if you always do what you've always done, you're gonna always get what you always got.
Yep. So we did the basically it was no Mite Monday, and then it just kind of matriculated down the streams to where it just became the M word, or the word that should not be spoken.
Well, as you can see, well, not here, but in the name of my channel, it's not something I see or say much either.
Well, you know what? last time I did that treatment, I had a huge drop in 24 hours, and I checked one of the colonies today, and there was very little drop off of them.
Yeah.
So feel pretty good about that, you know. Now, when I was pulling boxes, yes, the hive beetles were definitely out of control. So I'm going back to Old Faithful, the peppermints, and people can say what they want, but I'm telling you,
It works.
last year was the only year that I used peppermint. It was the first time we talked about it, and it was the least beetles I've ever had in beekeeping was last year. So coincidence, maybe, but
Yeah.
I'm
I
not.
got too many viewers that write me messages that are freaked out by it, and they say crazy things to me that could really swell my head. But I know it ain't me; it's Casby that done it. You know.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you, sir. And you know, it's at this point I'm trying to straighten up some genetics in the yard. I'm trying to I hate to say it this way, but I'm trying to get a jump on next year already with the with new queens that haven't been there for a whole year, right? And get where I can have, you know, about 50 nukes ready in the spring. So if people want nukes, then I can do that because I've already got them overwintered, right?
Yeah, we're on the same page.
And it's just about, and I talked to Jose for a while today on the phone, and he says, man, just in like December, just put up a list, right? A pre-order and take deposits and do it that way. He said, because that way, I hate to say it, but people are not very reliable. They'll tell you they want some nukes or something. So you make them and set them aside. And,
That's right.
And then they don't, they decide, oh, well, he was $5 cheaper, but he's 45 minutes away. I'm going to go get those. You know, spend $50 in gas to save 15. So it's
I think that's what I'm going to do next year. Start taking deposits.
Go ahead and take the credit card.
See how many people show up a month later.
Well, Jose said,
I got a friend of mine that sells nukes, and they pay for them in advance, not deposits, fully paid for. And guess what? They have 3 or 4 of them that don't even show up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, that Jose said that he would just take a small deposit, but he made him know that it was unrefundable. If you decided you wasn't getting it, that $30 a nuke that you reserved is just gone, you know, because that's
exactly what I'm going to do.
There's a lot to it, right? Because people don't understand that you got to graft and you got to set them up. You got to really, you're gambling a little bit because you are taking your existing colonies and you're reducing their strength when they're trying to build up to make.
And you're turning down somebody a week later that's willing to come and pick up right then. You say, no, I've got these 2 reserved, and then they never show up.
And a full, good, solid super, you know what I mean? That's you can fill up a dupe. That's $1,000. So you got to be able to at least split enough to cover that. You know what I mean? Beat that. And if not, then why are you beating yourself up? It's just, you got to make it worth it. I got which I'm pretty lucky. You know, Jason,
right?
He does all the selling.
Well, with you know, with Jose, we were talking some numbers today, right? Because he said, man, I had 2,000 queens. Because I asked him how many he had left because I was at my day job. He says, well, I got about 500 out of the 2,000 we started the day with. And I said, wow, that's a ton of money. He said, yeah, but you don't understand. I got to put feed on these. And that cost me about $10,000 in sugar and syrup to feed all these colonies. So I was like, yeah, okay, you got a point. You know, it's a lot of feed and a lot of work. So we're going to try to make a go of it. And we'll see, because now I am going to be a busy man after work this week, setting up boxes to make zombie colonies, moving my nuke boxes now have to be moved into 10 frame colonies. so I can free up my nuke boxes to split the nukes into, so I can put the new queens into old colonies. And, you know, and it's only about 100 degrees every day plus heat index. So, you know, what can you do?
Don't do like I done one time. I was going into production mode, making splits. So I put 20 boxes out, went back through my hive, stole 20 frames of honey, went back through, stole a frame of brood. Next thing I know, I had a yard full of bees. I didn't have a single bee in a box. There was a feeding frenzy. Good God.
So the best way to do this that James enlightened me to this year, which is probably the easiest way of doing it that I've ever seen. Charlie attests to this. You can take a double deep box and a queen excluder. Take the box out to the side, take all your brood frames and open larvae, shake all the bees down in the bottom box, put all those in the second box, the top box. Put your frames, you know, replacement frames in the bottom. Put a queen excluder on it. Put all that brood on top. And all the nurse bees that need to come up and take care of that will come right through that excluder and cover them. You come back in an hour, and now you're picking 2 frames out, 2 frames out, 2 frames out. They've already got the amount of bees they need on them to take care of their stuff.
That's the way I do.
And make it simple on yourself. Or you can do the old school method like I used to do, is just go out there, grab a frame, put it in a box. Half the bees fly back or more.
Week later, do it again.
Yep. Keep shaking every day. Shaking.
Shake until they go up in the trees.
That's it. Shake them in the trees. That's what we do. Charlie, you're quiet over there.
Oh, I don't know. You're obviously
watching internet porn on the other channel or something and not paying attention.
I was looking up a name, but I didn't find it.
He's probably in shock. I'm actually quiet.
But so yeah, I mean, there's a few things going on. I mean, I was so on the edge of leaving my colonies to do, but then I started getting a few losses, like 4 losses actually. And, you know, so I was like, you know what, if I'm going to lose some for dumb reasons, I might as well try to expand in the process with some nukes and new queens and see if I can limit that number. Because I can very easily overwinter a 5-frame nuke here. That's not a problem at all. So
once you get them strong enough.
Yeah. Which, you know, it's going to be feeding time anyway. So they're going to have to get it.
I listened to Mr. Ed's chat this weekend. Seen where Charlie come on.
Yeah, he didn't.
He shouldn't rename it the Lazy Beekeeper. He makes it sound so easy.
Oh, I mean, he's a natural beekeeper, right? He's treatment free, and he doesn't treat for mites. He doesn't rotate his boxes in the spring. None of that.
Gotta go.
Right, see you.
Sorry, guys. God bless.
And so they so for him, I mean, he goes in there in the spring to split, and then to pull honey, and that's it. That's all he does twice a year.
Yeah,
but
doesn't even feed them.
Yeah, but he doesn't even. I hate to say don't care, because I think he cares, but it doesn't matter to him if he loses.
It works for him.
Mm-hmm.
I come home, they're all up in the trees.
Yeah, if I'm lucky, I see them in the trees. Sometimes they're just an empty box there.
Yeah, they get out of Dodge.
Well,
I'm about to run out of Swarm Commander. I'm going to have to order some of your stuff.
Did you just say Swarm Commander? That's the other word that should not.
I'll be getting from you next time, but you only take PayPal?
No, I got a whole website, man. I take card or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm having a hard time finding it, but I will find it when I get ready.
If you go to my YouTube channel, in the header, there's a hyperlink. You can just click on it. It'll take you right to it.
Go to Walker Bee Ranch, and in the right-hand corner up in the top, he's got a button to push.
Man, I got you on speed dial. All I got to do is turn my phone on about 6:53, and I get a notice that you're coming on live, and there you are. every night.
Yeah, once in a while. Today,
I'll find you.
I had my old man nap, so I feel a little bit better. But I'm starting to get arthritis or something in my fingers because I can't even like bend this finger. It's real sore in this top joint right here.
Like it's swollen.
Yeah, I got a lot of that going on.
I don't know what in the world. I didn't get stung there, but it's just hurting pain.
But Mr. Ed, he didn't recognize me. Well, normally he has his chats on, I think, Saturday mornings. Well, I'm never
Saturday or
around.
Sunday morning, one of them.
Yeah, Saturday mornings normally. I'm never around when he has these chats. That was the first time.
But he knows Lee.
Well, they're all.
There's Lee and me, and
Yep.
I was in that chat. Came in a little bit later, but I was there. It was 98 today with the heat index of 109. That sounds about right.
101 here.
You know what I find, and this might be a discussion because Kyle's not in the chat tonight, but he does those, and I've got him here. Hold on. He sent me some, and I apologize. I have not put them on yet. But these entrances, and he showed us a whole presentation on how the bees will line up inside of here and basically make a jet stream. They're one behind the other in the side, and they will fan to blow out the hot air and cool the colony. And in the wintertime, the cluster will come down and plug this whole hole to keep the cold air from getting in. And I noticed that when I put on my entrance reducers, that the ones that I have just a little tiny hole in it, they never beard, ever. The ones that have the hole opening in the front, they'll be all on the front, plugging the hole and everything. So I think there's something to that. It could just be that I think they use their bodies as a defense mechanism too. If they plug that hole up with their bodies, then they don't have to worry about robbers because they can't get through the cluster, right? So
Robbers or Bob?
Both, probably. They don't like when I get in them either.
What's that?
I said they don't like it when I get in them either.
Have you ever noticed when you get the march going and say you're an inch below, when I'm unloading them out of my bee vac, I'll be an inch below the actual hive and the march will start going in, and there will be 25, 30 bees right there in that 1 inch area, and they will make a bridge.
Yep.
And they will stand there just hanging on while the other bees cross them. That is so neat to look at. They won't move. They won't do anything. They just make a bridge.
Fred Dunn did do a review on these things. However, Fred Dunn had them installed incorrectly, listening to Kyle, because he had these on the entrance, but he had a slatted bottom on there. So it was too low. This is designed to go right under the cluster so the bees can cluster down and plug it if they need to. And because his was so far down below the cluster, it didn't work the way that it was supposed to. So that's what Kyle told us anyway. And we haven't seen old Kyle in a while. I've seen him pop on like twice in the last month or so, but haven't seen him. He hadn't jumped in to any. Yep, there you go. Lee dropped the link up there. And hopefully Lee's feeling better. And Todd's cooking. He said he wouldn't be able to come in tonight. But yeah, I've got a bunch of queens coming. So it'll be interesting, which I was kind of waiting on Kelly to send me the invoice, and she hadn't sent it yet. So it's going to be, this is the most queens I've gotten at one time too. So that's going to be a real trick. So got 50 coming, Charlie.
Yeah, I know you did. I heard.
So it's going to be interesting. They're all Italian. The Italians, for some reason, do well down here. I don't know if they're just better at the heat or what, but
Hey, whatever works. I mean, a lot of people cuss them and all that. Oh, they eat too much honey, or they do this, or they do that, or whatever. And it's like you found. I mean, different areas like different bees. You know.
Well,
and if you're trying to do nukes, then you want bees that make lots of bees.
Yep, and that's what I noticed is in the spring early, I have lots of bees in my Italian colonies.
Right. Well, they build up quicker. They were used by like your pollinators and whatever, because they want those bees to build up, you know, for pollination services and stuff.
Oh, Tractor Supply sent Matt a $25 off coupon for signing up for the nationwide farmers market, which is this weekend. I don't know if you can still sign up for it or not, but it's the 19th for Tractor Supply. And let me see. Steve, I tried for the first time to break the lid off of those colonies that you brought down. And they had that thing so propolized down that I just pushed it back closed and was like, they're doing good if they got it that sealed up. I mean, it was on there tight. The thing glued down. Let me see. There's still 3 deeps and a medium. I have it on a slider rack with a vented lid. My bees have only now started to bear some of the 100-degree days. Yep. Let me see. Yeah, the carnies, I don't dislike them, but man, they just get down here. They get to such a small cluster that it takes them a long time to ramp back up in the spring. And the Italians just seem to do better. So I've got a couple months for them to get going, get rocking and rolling with these new queens before it starts turning cold. Like the end of September, it'll be in the 60s at night. But other than that, it's going to be in the 70s. They need an inner cover. Yeah, I've got to, and I still have Reflectex. I need to go cut it, which is just not having, well, I hate to say not having time. I got 3 hours a day that I take an old man nap that I could have probably had that done, taken care of.
Now, Jack's talking about. Go ahead, Larry.
I'm about to go take my old man nap till about 4:30 in the morning.
Were you going to get up and milk cows?
Then start again.
Did you hear that?
No.
I said, what are you going to do? Get up and milk cows at 4:30?
What's the 4-Hers going to think coming on with a bunch of elderly old men?
Friday on Charlie's channel.
Friday night.
But the
now, Jack talked about a rabbit bush about to pop. Now he's out in Wyoming. I'm not really sure what that is. That's not something that I would have.
Rabbit bush. Oh, that looks kind of almost looks like goldenrod almost.
Oh, okay.
A little bit different, but let's see. Share screen. This one. Add it to stream. Make it big.
I wish we could just skip August.
I know, right? It's just like a bush, but it looks kind of like goldenrod, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that was one of the things that Bob Benning was talking about, that that guy said there was like 30 different varieties of goldenrod, depending where you live at.
The rabbit bush.
I'd probably say it's probably a golden
type of goldenrod almost.
Mm.
Well, I hope my goldenrod produces nectar. They're about to eat me out of house and home right now.
This is what ours looks like here.
Yeah.
But carnies don't rob as much because they don't need as much feed in fall and winter, right? I'm trying to figure out how I can spread these bees out and still keep them here without having them sitting directly on the ground.
Move fast, because I'm telling you,
Jack.
boy, robin frenzy is something else to see.
Oh yeah, I saw a little bit this weekend, and you know what I did? I threw that M treatment in there, and they were like, "Nope, we don't want none of that," and left out.
I hit the first. I had probably 50 hives when it started, and I hit the two biggest production hives I had and took the lids off, and before I could take any more off, it stopped. It was that those were the two that were causing it.
Well, someone said if you open up all of your colonies, that
Yeah, you hadn't got it. I was in the process, and by the time I hit two of my biggest production hives and took the lids off, they went back home and started watching their own,
defending their own place, right?
Yep. And then the following year, I took all my production hives about 10 miles down the road and put them in a different spot. And then my nuke yard, I don't have any trouble with it. The big hives are the ones that cause the trouble.
They're in the aster family. They're like a goldenrod, like we said.
Yep, that's it. Keep them busy. And every time I think I've got a plan for the weekend, my plan changes. You know, whether it's go get frames or go get feed. Now it's go get splits for your for all your queens that are coming. So I may have some extra. Probably will have some extra, but I'm going to take some of those nukes that are like in triple deeps, and I'm going to break them down that I've got. And some of those.
Well, you're putting in 2 framers, right? Or what? These new queens.
Well, I've got about 25 nuke boxes, 5-frame nukes. And then I've got nukes that can go into 10 frames now, right? So I'm going to kind of graduate some and then split back to them. That's going to be the goal. Yeah, I saw that too, Mark. Jose has a video of a mixture he did and sprays it on the colony and they stop robbing. So that's kind of what's going on. Of course, I have to do everything in the hottest time of the year, unfortunately. But if I can just get them through. And I talked to Mark there at Sourwood Branch today. And he showed me some pallet designs for with like a screen bottom commercial pallet. Have you seen those?
Screen bottom pallets.
Mm-hmm.
I seen them years and years ago. Somebody out in the Midwest was making 4-way screen pallets. The problem with them is he was like commercial wise that the forklifts would rip the damn screen bottoms out, if they weren't very careful with them.
There you go. What's that say? If you have nukes and production hives in the same yard. Yeah.
I do. Works fine with me.
You open all your, he's saying opening all the lids on your colonies to stop robbing.
No. Mm-mm. But I went in, like say mine, and we seem to be getting a nectar source in.
Well, I think I've got a little one because yesterday when I was pulling honey, there was rainwater in my tote, right, with the straw floating on top of it. So I took a whole bucket of feed, non-mixed, just straight feed, and dumped it in there with it. And they didn't hit it for like 2 days. And then this afternoon, there was a little bit of bees on it, but not
there's something coming in. But we got a shower this afternoon, and right in front of my hives is a lot of white Dutch clover. Not that they're going to get a whole lot out of that. And then I think we don't have the spotter lanternfly as far as the bug goes. We don't have a tremendous amount of them like we did last year, but they're here, and I think there's enough dew coming in that I mean they're packing the top supers. Most of them are full and all, and one of them wasn't quite as full, but they're still bringing in quite a bit of nectar.
Right. Let's see. Got a couple of them. Where's it at? Has anyone tried what Fred Dunn says? Spray the entrances with sugar water on all the colonies.
I never did anything like that.
I haven't done it either. So David says his wild sunflowers just started to bloom, so his bees are busy. Mine are just kind of meandering around, getting water, doing whatever, but not real. Well, I guess they're getting out, you know. By the time I get home from work, they're pretty much back home and clustered. But, you know, hey, it's been busy at work, my day job, so I can't complain with that. But yeah, I'm real close to beating my all-time goal already with the company for a monthly sales. So real close.
Well, y'all, I'm gonna call it a night.
All right, Larry, you have a good evening.
All right, Larry, we'll catch you later.
Y'all too. Okay.
All
All right, bye.
right. So, Charlie, what you been up to, man? Work, obviously.
Just work. I mean, I don't know. Seemed like the folks are looking for some grade, some really clear cherry and stuff. So I planed up a bunch of that. I got a guy coming in tomorrow morning, and I had a custom job for flooring, and I got that done today. And there was some maple that I had bought. I kind of plane it up and then put it on the shelf, and then when that sells, then you put more on the shelf. And I got all that done, put it on the shelf, kind of cleaning the footprint up of lumber piles and stuff here and there.
Right.
So doing all that, and I'm feeding these queens that I've raised from cells and stuff, and kind of, you know, trying to get them built up before winter hits, and doing that. And then I've checked about 4 or 5 of my production hives, and they're looking good as far as stores goes. I was wondering, because usually only up until last year when these lanternflies hit. Prior to that, we'd go into the top boxes and little to none as far as any kind of nectar sources. And I used to get text from the inspector, and because obviously my bees are within a half a mile or less from the local swim club, and they'd be over there in I guess the dumpsters, and they're all, whacked out about the bees. I told her, I said, sure it ain't the yellow jackets, with their soda cans and all. And then, and at that time, I think, she said, are you feeding? And I said, yeah, I just dropped 100 gallons of feed. I think it was 112, 40 gallon things. So 3 4s or 12. Yeah. 120 gallons of feed in these damn things. I said, what else can you do? And then by that time, the goldenrod starts kicking in. Well, then they got something to do. They're going out and they're getting pollen, and there might be a trickle of nectar. I mean, there's different types of goldenrods. Some give out nectar and some don't. It depends on what's growing in your area. There's an early goldenrod that blooms, I think, around here. Some guys have told me, and there's a later style that grow like behind me there. That's a picture back when it's starting to bloom. And so, then she said they didn't hear any more complaints. So, but now I don't hear any complaints the last couple of years, because there's a natural nectar source out there for these bees to grab. I don't know. Maybe they should.
Hey,
I don't know. Huh?
There he is.
There's Brad.
I hope your brother's doing
Hey,
better,
everybody.
sir. Is your brother doing better?
Doing better.
Good. Good.
Doing better.
So,
Well,
I pulled the trigger, sir.
turned out to be a onset of some pneumonia, so I think he's going to be okay. Just got to take it easy.
It's not in my DNA, I don't think, taking it easy.
Yeah. Well, either his, it's pretty tough because he's not the kind of guy to sit around.
Well, I ordered 50 queens. So
Yeah. Nice.
So my
You're going to make it happen.
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment. It's hotter than Hades outside, and I could have taken the easy road, right, of just not doing anything and just let them go until next year. Or I could do what I did and make it hard on myself to split up.
Oh, you know what? This is the better way because those mean bees make nothing easy.
Well, so what I'm gonna do, at least the idea is, and hopefully if you think it's wrong, you tell me, is I'm gonna zombie all my existing queens. My existing.
That's the blind leading the blind, my friend.
Well, hey, you've at least zombie hived it for a minute. So I'm going to take my existing queens and they're going to go into zombie hives, nukes.
Okay.
And my new queens are going to get introduced to the existing colonies.
So how many frames of brood are you looking at in the average in those colonies?
That's a great question because I have not. See, this is where it gets sticky for me.
It's too mean for you to look at.
Yeah, some of them are like that. So what's going to happen is those mean colonies that are 3 5-frame nukes tall are going to get pummeled into a bunch of small ones with new queens. And I've got about 25 5-frame boxes that I have at my disposal right now. And I've got 30 2-framers. So the mean queens may get 2-framers, so hopefully they perish over the winter. But if they don't, then we'll reconsider that situation. But
well, you know what? There is nothing wrong with pinching those, and here's my thinking, because if you don't pinch that mean queen, and a subset of those just to make your equipment spin out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pinch that mean queen, she's going to be sitting on at least a frame of brood and a shake or two of bees. Well, if you introduce a nice queen to a colony, that colony could certainly use that frame of brood and those bees. So she's tying up good resources for you. She's not just doing nothing. She's tying up some resources, and this is, let me just relate a little bit of what I'm doing here, and because it kind of relates to that theory. You talk about my zombies, and generally in mid to late August, I'll call my buddy up and I'll say, "Hey, come on up and get these zombies." And what he does is he'll bring some frames, just some actually unassembled frames and foundation, and he'll just give me those frames to equal the number of frames that are in the zombie hives. Take them home, and then he'll winter those, and he's got about 50% success wintering them, so it's not bad. However, this year things are a little different. Because my queen rearing went so well, I have a whack of nukes out there that really need a little more help on the resources front, brood and bees specifically, right?
Right.
So we had a conversation a couple days ago, and I told him this, and I said, and he was lamenting the fact that he wanted to make a bunch of late splits, but he was, his queen rearing didn't go as well, and so I said, well, tell you what, would caged zombie queens work for you? And he said, absolutely. So what we're going to do is, as I work these colonies, I'm going to take all of the resource from these zombies and I'm going to cage that queen
You sell it to
I'll
him.
bank them for, a couple days, and then he just drives up here and picks up. There's probably going to be almost 20 of them, 20 queens or so, that he can take home and then introduce to his late splits. So that's the way. The reason that relates is, instead of sending resources off with the zombies, I can use those resources for my nukes that I have, and now they have nice fresh queens. I've got theoretically a way better chance of them wintering and all that. So
Right.
so that's just kind of what I've sort of figured out, and I mean, that's just a plan, right? Plans are plans, and we don't know until next May how that plan worked out. So I'd encourage you to be ruthless with those. If you don't have the proper equipment for it, and you're thinking, I'll stick it in a 2-frame and hopefully she dies. Well, pinch the old bag now and use the resources for something else. Like, get rid of her. She's
Or he could
costing you.
sell those zombie queens for half price.
Sure.
You need a queen?
Sure.
Got 'em.
If you got anybody down there buying nukes in
Well, then sold a nuke
well,
last
just
week.
sell a
right?
caged queen.
Beginning of last week. The thing is,
Sell the caged queen. She's not like she's old, right?
no, all of my queens are first year queens. The second year queens all got superseded. So everything was either grafted this year, or they just had this season, right? So all of these new ones are solstice queens, or after the solstice, so they have not laid up for months.
Well, good, nice brood break.
And then so I'm hoping it'll be twofold, right? It'll help with the M's, hopefully, and also give me fresh queens going into the spring.
The pest whose name shall not be spoken, is that it?
Yes.
The M's.
The M's. we will not gratify them with their name.
That's right.
So,
well, I think that's
the
good.
African queen seller. I only have like one that's that way, one or two. The rest of them are pretty nice. I mean, I did treat the M's yesterday with an off-label treatment, right? And the stick that I put in the colony with the treatment on it, I literally had it reduced down with the reducer to the smallest entrance on the reducer. They had that stick about 3/4 of the way backed out, where the bees have forced it out. So I went up there today and went bink and knocked it right back into the colony. So,
wow.
But
well, do both. I'd say do both, because I was actually talking to a young fella I mentor here, and he was saying, "Oh, should I do this for winter? Or should I do that? I got this big idea. I want to try this. Will it work?" And I said, "I'll tell you if it works or not, because,
well, you'll know very quickly in the spring if it worked, right?
You tell me if it works. You do it and tell me in May how it worked."
Right.
But I what I told him was, I said, do half. Like, you want to try this new management? He's thinking he can try something different to maybe make his wintering success better. And I'm not thinking that what he's planning on doing is wrong at all. But what I did tell him was, maybe it'll work. And so if you do this new thing and it works great, then you're going to be stuck doing this new thing forever. The problem is, you don't know if it actually makes a difference.
Right.
So what I told him is, you do half,
and you can compare
half your hives, and then you compare, because there's nothing worse than going through a whole bunch of effort and work and bother to do things that you think work.
Right.
Because if you think they work, it doesn't matter if you think they work or not. They have to actually work, or they have to actually make a difference to make it worth that bother. So if you're doing I told him, I said, if you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't actually do anything because you think it does something, that's called superstition.
Right.
So if you want to be superstitious beekeeper, then you just do all these things that you think work, make you feel good. So I think a lot of us fall into that we do a lot of things, or we can easily get into doing a lot of things
because
And
that's just how we always
we
did
have
it.
to do that every time,
Well, that's the goal. So I figure if I can rob a couple of frames out of each box, that also allows me to have room for my frame feeder to go in, and allows me to spread those resources out into my nukes, and doesn't kill as much of the population in the mother colony. And we'll see how far we can stretch it. But I've got two double deep nukes in the back there that were swarm colonies that are chock full of bees and resources, and because I haven't pulled honey or anything, those are the ones that are going to get bastardized the first, right? Are the swarm colonies, because they're swarms. I don't, it doesn't matter really to me.
Yeah.
Split the New York.
I just hauled another one out of the tree today. And I haven't been in the apiary in a week or more, really. And I was working there today, and I went to leave. I was all wore out, and I was walking away, and I looked to the side, bloody swarm hanging in a tree. And, really easy catch, because it's only, actually, I had to raise the branch to get the box under it.
Okay.
So it's not like I need a ladder or nothing.
It was really a low hanging fruit.
It was literally low hanging fruit. The only real difficulty of it was they were kind of clustered around the trunk of this little tree, and it's a tree that that's the third swarm I've had in that tree, and the little trunk is, it's not a big tree. It's about that big. So it's not just shake a branch, right? I had to get the brush and all that kind of stuff, and it was near something else, and were clustered underneath a piece of wood that was laying there, and I brushed them off, and they'd been there a while, because they made 2 or 3 lobes of comb about that big. So I think I got them in the box. I think I got the big one in the box, because when I put what I do is I'll shake them in the box, and then there's the 2-inch feed hole in the top of the lid. And when I think I got them, pretty well all of them in the box, or I think I probably got the queen in the box, then I'll put the lid on, and I can watch that feed hole and see if the bees stand at the top of the hole and Nazanov, right, with their butts in the air. And it wasn't long before I saw a bunch of them take up that post, Nazanoving at the corner edge of that hole. So I thought, okay, probably got the queen. And so I just left it there.
Then I go back the next day, and they've vacated the swarm trap. It's like,
yeah, well,
see,
I have to go. I have to check in the morning, because once I get the plug in there, I've got the queen excluder on the entrance, so at least she can't leave, theoretically.
Unless she flies out of the hole in the top.
So we'll see.
Reporting the fan.
And you know what? At this point, I'm doing it for them, because it's the 14th of August. I'm catching a swarm, 14th of August.
Well, I've got
What's
about 2 months to where it gets down in the 60s at night. So, that should give these queens a few rounds of brood, or a couple at least, to get them a cluster going.
We're looking about 50 F here last night.
Yeah, see, bees would be here. They would be kind of semi-clustered, right? They wouldn't be real tight, but they would be clustered up here at night.
And the main thing is, Bob, you're gonna make all these nukes up a couple days up prior, so they
say 27.
Well, if he mails them out Wednesday, they'll be here Thursday. So I guess my wife is going to have to receive the queens during the day, and if not, I don't know. Hopefully, the FedEx guy just doesn't drop them on my porch in 100-degree heat. That'd be my luck, and then $1,000 is just burnt up on the front porch,
Yeah.
So
you can't make them up too far in advance. That's something that I've kind of taken as a rule. You can't make that nuke too far in advance.
Yeah. So tomorrow. My goal is tomorrow to get my nuke boxes all emptied of bees now into 10 framers, so I can start splitting their resources out. Like if I got 15 frames, I already know I got 5 frames that I can move to another other boxes, right?
So how long do you let them bees go queenless, Brad? 24 hours or a little longer? Or
I'd like them to be queenless for a few days.
yeah, that's what I'm figuring.
See, here's my process. I want them to be queenless long enough so that they will start all of their volunteer cells in that time period, so that then I can go through that thing, kill all the volunteer cells, and then put my queen in there. So you figure, well, how long does that take? It could take 4 or 5 days, right? Because if she lays an egg, it could be 4 or 5 days that egg, and the subsequent larva could be a viable emergency queen. So, almost a week would not be too long. And you know very well that if there's brood in there, like sealed brood and younger brood, they can go 3 weeks before you're in danger of laying worker territory. So, and the other thing is, when I do that check for those volunteer cells, I like to shake them off so that I can get a good look. But I don't like to cause that little nuke that much stress right before I introduce a queen.
Right.
Now you're doing a slow release, so that's not as much of an issue. I'm talking direct release and virgins. So that's different there too. So you could do a shake off cell check probably right before you put that caged queen in there, because by the time she's going to be in that cage for probably 3 days.
Well, he
so
also uses those little California mini queen cages.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of room in there to move around. She's got a little bit, but not a lot.
Are there attendants in there?
He puts the attendants like in the shipping box.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in a battery box. Yeah.
Battery box.
Yeah.
Well, when last time I got queens from them, they came in the postal box that has the screen on the end, and the queens were all on the battery strips, and then there was attendants in the box with all of them. So there was just loose bees on the inside, right?
So you can, as long as the bees when you put that cage in there, as long as they can get at that the screen, right? Don't stick the screen in there so it's right up against the next frame or something like that. Just make sure it's pointed down or whatever,
right?
So they can get at it. Yeah, in that case, because you're slow releasing, there's probably not much of an issue.
All right, so when you're
I still like them to be queenless for a while. I like them to want it.
So you're doing a direct release with a virgin. So you're making that nuke up to where it's at least a couple days old.
Yeah, because I got to do a.
Well, ideally, you want emerging brood anyway going in there, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but then it comes down to what do you have, right? I got 50 plus colonies, and I've got 50 new queens. So if I can get some resources from every colony a little bit, I should be good to go. Hopefully. We'll see. We're going to see.
Oh, yeah. Piece of cake, man. Piece of cake.
Other than the heat stroke, I'll probably get that. But the I might be like Brad out there in shorts and in a ball cap, just sting me. Yeah. It's too hot to wear that other stuff to sting me. And get it over
Who cares? I don't care.
Right.
Well, I went out and checked some more of my nukes. I checked Carrie's graft. I checked the queens that she grafted for laying, and boy, she got a high percentage. And now I don't know really what it had to do with the person running the grafting tool, but sure was a high percentage. I think there was, of course, she grafted 30. And I think 4 didn't take, so there was 26. I think one of those didn't emerge from the cell, so 25. And I think 2 of those didn't mate. So that's a really high mating percentage, which is normal for me in, July-ish. It's very, very good mating
he finished dinner.
percentage.
He finished his dinner.
There's Todd. Hey, Todd.
Hey, everyone.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm full.
So good. That's a good thing. Look at you starring on Tim and Hannah's last night.
Yeah, Tim called me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, we'd like to have you on." And I said, "Yeah, but my internet's all jacked up, so let me get it fixed." And so I finally got it fixed. So,
Well, I talked to your buddy Jose today.
yeah, I've heard everything. I listen to you guys when I cook.
So
I've been trying to catch up with your video on Tim's channel, Todd. I missed the first
Boy,
bit of that, so I'm trying to catch up the replay.
If you missed it, you missed near the end. You missed some really good nuggets. I'll just leave it at
Near
that.
the end of your talk.
No.
part,
At the
you
end of
mean?
the broadcast.
Oh, I did catch the end of the broadcast.
Blaine
But there
popped in and he was, oh, that's right. I saw you on there last night. Blaine popped in rare form. And then you saw the comment about when Mark shot a hole in the floor with his 12 gauge.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
And there was a
Said it was in the doggos a long time.
yeah, there was a prism sitting
Yeah.
for 2 years there.
So your off-label treatment is the strips, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not doing strips, but I am doing off-label right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was to buy me a week, right? Buy me a week and then be able to put the apivar in.
Mm-hmm. And
But
I used them last year. They worked great for me last year.
But then the whole queen dilemma happened. So now
Yeah.
damn it, Jose, you put them too cheap. You stimulated a buy.
I was talking to him last week, and he told me that price, and I said, "Wow, you're going to move some queens."
2,000 of them is what he did.
Yeah, he had a good day today.
He sold 1,500 of them today, and then he said, "Well, I can put your name on some if you don't know, what you want." Yeah, put my name on 50 of them, and I'll let you know if I'm going to get them or not. Then the next text he saw was, "Yeah, go ahead and send me the queen." So we're gonna gamble, right?
I think you'll be all right. It's not like you're going to be in the midst of 20 below or something in the winter.
Well, my thing is mainly the resources, right? I got frames. I've got now, but at the beginning of the year, I had single deeps. A lot of my colonies are double deeps now, so I should be able to rip and run some stuff out of there. And so that's the goal. And I was like, you know what? If I can get those queens now, then in the spring, I should be ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If I can get them going. No, not flipping queens this time. Well, I will. If they need a zombie, I got some. I got a really
Zombies.
She's a hot chick too. She's smoking hot chick.
She's so hot.
How many colonies you got? 2? Oh, she'll be a great addition to your apiary.
Yeah.
And,
So I was done checking those nukes. I went over and I've been hurting for comb. I'm hurting for drawn comb. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I just pilfered a few frames from some of my honey boxes, and I just pilfered 4 boxes of honey, dragged them over to the honey house. Now that I got things set up, I dragged it over to honey house, spun them out. So now I've got about 40 frames of drawn comb that I can use in my nukes for build up for winter, hopefully. And while I was at it, I set some escapes on those four hives that I robbed. It's a perfect day for it. There's no robbing out there yet. They've got a little bit of a flow going, so that they're quite happy.
bring that one up, Shane.
the last one? It's easy. I ignore them because if you answer them, you're just feeding the fire. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. There's always one or two. You betcha.
There's a jackass in every crowd.
And it's usually the one that has 0 content, that's not showing anybody anything, that knows it all and wants to comment on yours.
Totally anonymous. Won't use their real name. Blah 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 blah. A real hero.
Right.
I probably jinx myself, but if someone does do something like that, I'll say, "Hey, thank you for your comment. It helped me in the algorithms." And then,
Right.
you know, I can keep
Well,
it
it
going on.
absolutely, absolutely does. It's engagement, right?
Yeah.
Certainly does help. Even those thumbs down help, right?
I-
Because they it's engagement.
Speaking of thumbs, we got 60 people watching and only 43 thumbs up. What? They're free, ladies and gentlemen. Just smash the button.
They're free. It's that click, right? It's
Correct.
that sometimes that's just a little more than you can manage today.
Yeah.
I have days like that. It's kind of like you go through that day and then you realize I just can't manage one more click. I
Oh,
can't.
Matt and Sarah's here. We gotta cancel the show now. Just kidding. But
Hadn't seen him for a while.
and so we're it's oh yeah, everybody's concerned about the robbing, but it's my intention to put feed on them straight away, right? Everybody.
You know, another thing to do about robbing is, you know, those schoolyard sprinkler systems that spray out in like almost a 360.
Right.
You can put one of those out there, and that mist, when it falls on the boxes, will make them stop. They'll think it's raining, and then you could do it for like 20, 30 minutes, and then it'll calm them down for quite a while.
Wow.
7 years, only had robbing once.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Well, that's
Well,
Santa
and
Claus
when I
did
say
it.
robbing, I just mean that they'll take into anything that you know, because I was pilfering these frames so that I would, you know, just going frame by frame from the box into a you know, a box that I would take away, and
You do it every stream.
frames of honey there that with the lid off the box, and there was
Ooh.
nobody paying attention to it at all, and that's
But
what I
you
mean by robbing, you know. And so the only explanation for that is a bit of a flow.
Well,
So my escape should work really well. And that's one of the difficulties with singles is I kind of need to harvest, and this is one of my stressor points, is I have to harvest the whole yard before I can feed. Because I don't want to be feeding when there's honey boxes anywhere in the apiary. So it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky, especially when there's a lot of hives in that yard. My home yard's got way too many colonies in it right now. It often does the end of the season. So it's kind of hard. I'll leave one honey box over the brood chamber so that I can quickly grab that last box in one day.
I started my El Diablo honey today. The Carolina Reaper honey.
Did it melt the bottle?
No, but I'll tell you what. I rinsed my hands with water and I scratched my back and forgot about it when I was taking my old man nap. It felt like I had
it kind of rub your eye.
I felt like I had a heating pad on my back. That stuff they're dried. I've never made hot honey with dried peppers, so I'll be curious to see how
you need to wash your hands with something that's going to get the oil off.
Acid,
like brake clean.
Acid, yeah, brake cleaner.
Brake cleaner. That'll get it
dry
off.
everything off.
That'll do it. I made the
Carbureted
mistake
cleaner.
of picking my nose after dicing jalapenos. I didn't even think twice about it. And boy, I slipped a finger in there. I paid the price for a couple hours.
So I got 24. Right now I've got 2.5 gallons of honey and 24 chopped up Carolina Reapers in it right now. So it should be stupid hot, like don't even want to taste it myself type hot. It probably won't have much taste. It'll just be heat, right? Yeah, that's it. So my other blend has fresh peppers in it, so that's more of a jalapeno, habanero, serrano type pepper blend, which is much more mild, and people like that. This is going to be, you probably won't like it, but if you want to give somebody something that they like hot stuff. Some people do, like that one chip challenge, right?
No, thanks.
I could probably get those little bottles like Spanky had and probably, charge a bunch of money for them as a novelty. Here, try this.
Do you really even taste honey, or is it just heat? I mean, I don't see the purpose.
Well, with my blended one, you get the jalapeno heat on your tongue, but it dissipates really quick, and then you get the sweetness of the honey. So it's really good on like fried chicken or chicken strips or something like that.
That stuff is just amazing. I love that stuff.
I can't take it.
But it's not as good as this fajita I'm eating right now.
But that's a great thing, Todd. When you make this stuff, the time you leave that pepper in there, you can tailor it, right? You can make it a nice. That's what I like about jalapenos. I eat jalapenos more than anything else, and I like jalapenos because they have a flavor to them. It's not just fire, right? A nice spicy flavor to them, and so you can leave them in there for a few days, and you just get a nice little spice in your honey. It'll be really nice.
And the thing is, when you're using the fresh peppers like I do, it adds moisture to your honey. So then you have to dehydrate the honey down by either adding more honey to dilute that moisture, or what I did that worked really well, better than I thought it was going to work, is those 200 micron bucket strainers, the plastic ones. I just put that on the top so it could vent the air out of it, but nothing would fall back into the honey. And that stuff thickened right on up. I mean,
oh yeah, and you just had it. What vessel did you have it in?
5 gallon
in the
bucket.
honey. What was the honey in? So it was a 5-gallon bucket, eh?
But I only had half.
Interesting.
Half full.
Yeah, it's all about surface area.
And then, but it's in my kitchen,
that,
right? It's not outside or anything. It's in my kitchen with the thing on it. So
and you have to have the humidity in the room kind of under control.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Freeze dry the peppers, Matt says. Well, the ones I bought, the Reapers I bought off of Amazon, they were already dried peppers. So, Shane, if you have YouTube questions, Lee is a great one to ask also. Yeah, YouTube is a funny animal.
I'd be interested to hear how those dried peppers are going to work, because to me, that's kind of the idea, is you put the pepper in and it pulls the moisture out of the pepper. So
well, I'm hoping that the pepper actually hydrates with the moisture in the honey and disperses it back out. I don't know. I've never tried it with dried, but everybody that I've talked to says, "Oh, we use dried peppers for it." So, I don't know.
Interesting.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, that honey that I pulled yesterday was a little bit thinner than it should have been, but when I put that mesh over it and let it, Steve says dry honey or dry peppers work great. So we're gonna see. I don't know how long I need to even leave it in there. If I leave it too long, it won't wait to hatch, but it'll live up to its name, right?
There's Mr. 12 Gauge himself.
Did he do that?
Mr. 12 Gauge. 12 Gauge Mark.
I missed that.
Oh, you missed a good one.
Did he actually shoot the floor last night on accident?
No, not last night. It was a story.
No. He was just saying why he's still in the doghouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. It was about a doghouse. He happened to be in the doghouse for 2 years, he said.
For 2 years?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Wow. At least he didn't shoot a hole in the ceiling or something.
So I got a beekeeping question. If anybody?
Yeah. Okay.
New queen. Okay, checking mating nukes today, and I found this mating nuke that, boy, she's laying probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 eggs in a cell. but they seem to be, they're not stuck to the side or anything. And the nukes, I don't think the nukes are old enough that they should be in danger of laying workers. Like, what would you guys think of that?
Well, I've seen new queens that drop tons of eggs in a cell.
Yeah.
I've seen new queens drop 2 or 3,
7's a lot.
but there's like half a dozen or more sometimes.
Her cup runneth over.
Yeah. she's
Maybe
pressurized.
too long.
She's built up some pressure, and I didn't see her. So that makes me worry because it wasn't a very big nuke, and my virgins are marked when I send them off. So,
Oh.
you
And
know,
this one was not marked.
I didn't see her.
Yeah, Jim. So what I do with the honey, it dries on the top, but then I stir it every day. Right now, I'm stirring it every day to mix all the heat and everything into it.
So there was some larvae, so I thought, just give it, I'll give it a week, see if I got bullets or flat cells, and then go from there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there'll be bullets, but we'll see.
I think she had too much fun. That's what it said.
She had. Well, I don't think she came back, and the workers took over.
Well, if it was a queen,
But
that's
that's
They had
whatever.
a coup and overthrew
And
the queen.
And that was one of the 2 that I was mentioning that maybe didn't mate out of the 25 that Carrie grafted. So that's a fully automatic queen. Fully automatics are illegal in Canada.
The AK-47 queen.
She ended up being a drone layer. Yeah, well, she might be.
especially if you didn't see her. And she was marked.
Yeah, I did see her. It wasn't a very big nuke either.
There's Mark. On the road again.
There he is.
Sorry. There's
Oh.
Gauge Mark.
He's on furlough from the doghouse.
I laughed and laughed and laughed last night after that. I thought about that all night. I thought that was the funniest thing I heard in a while. But I got to know why. How come? How did the hole get in the floor? What were you doing?
Well, I'll start at the very beginning. I'm kind of what you call a muzzle loader connoisseur, right? I've got a lot of older muzzle loaders and 36s and 50s, 45s, shotguns, pistols. But I wanted to kill a turkey with a shotgun muzzle loader, right? So I went out and I bought the cheapest 12 gauge muzzle load shotgun I could find. And it was an inline, and the cap went. It was a center fire, and the cap went in the middle, and the whole thing come back. And then when you squeeze the trigger, that whole thing made the cap fire off, right?
Yeah.
Well, that cap got hung in there, so I took it in the house, and I'm sitting with it, in my lap, with a pocket knife, and I had that thing pulled back, trying to pull that cap off, and it slipped out of my hand, and that cap went off, and kaboom! It mowed a hole about that big around in the living room floor. And I had a big turkey load in it. I had it loaded heavy, all kind of powder and number 6 shot. And it filled the house up with smoke.
I think my chair would have had a turkey load in it if that went off in my living room.
Turkey load in your chair.
It scared me to death, It really did.
What cracked me up was the next sentence that you put down. That was hilarious.
Yeah. She come in and she said, "What?" And we, because I ain't gonna repeat what she said, but she said, "You get that gun out of this house and don't ever want to see it again." So I wound up giving it to a buddy of mine, and I told him, I said, it's kind of a dangerous deal, and so he mounted it on his grill and welded it and made a handle on his grill lid with it. So now he's got a shotgun as a handle on his grill.
That's a mighty expensive handle.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So she got her a new floor. She got new hardwood floors out of that deal.
All you can say is, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That's it. Yeah.
Hang your
It
head.
Yep. It's just one of them things.
All right, so Jim here says he listened to a fellow today who said OA doesn't work late summer because the mites are under caps.
Correct.
That would mean that mite counts are not equal depending on time of year. Anybody want to input on that?
I say it's a waste of time.
Well,
What?
Well, 80% of your mites are underneath the cappings. I use it in the wintertime. I tried the thing where you did it every 3 or 4 days and all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of nukes die on me. And it was a lot of work. You know, you're out there for a couple hours, you know, blasting these hives. And so now I wait till October, November, December in the wintertime, and I hit them once or twice a month and just keep them mopped up. So,
Well, I think the biggest thing is those caps are they're gonna hatch, and when they hatch out, you know, as far as OA, yeah, I do the same thing. I use it in the winter, right, when there's less brood, less issues. But I've been using Apivar in the times because of the time that it has to be in the colony, 6 weeks, right? So they're hatching out, hopefully dropping, hatching out, hopefully dropping mites all the time. But if it was 100% effective, we wouldn't have any mites because everybody would have already wiped them off the face of the earth, right? So it's just about, I think, keeping them in check, right? Just keeping them down.
the Apivar will, if you're overloaded with mites, there was a guy on one of our chats on Facebook, and he was saying somebody out of the country, his friend, you know, the hive was totally ate up with mites, and he had Apivar in there for so many weeks, and you know he's still having mite droppings. And I'm like, well, it's not a product that you use to get things underneath control. It's a slow release product to kind of keep things in check. And I said, you know, you need to do an OA treatment or several of them there, you know, to knock the mites back and stuff. But also you need to check the darn things too. It sounded like to me he didn't understand it. I've come to the conclusion with my stuff. I'm treating 3 different times. I'm treating with Apivar. I'm going to treat with Formic Pro when it gets a little cooler. September, usually we have a nice window there. It's low humidity, low temperature. Hit them that, and then come into the fall or more so in the winter, I hit them with at least, I usually have a 48-degree day in those months, and I hit them all the way up till probably into February.
Well, that's kind of what I did in the spring before they start to really get brooding good. I Apivar'd them, and then right before the honey flow starts, I blast them with oxalic acid, just to try to get them as low as that I think they possibly could be at that time before they start brooding up and, you know, blowing up for the spring or for the honey flow. And hopefully that equates to less mites going into the fall, right? Because they have to have, the more mites you have, the more mites they can make. So if you can knock them down and keep them low, then at least in my idea that it should keep them manageable. So when it hits this time of year, when they're starting to peak, that I can blast them again and knock them down again. So that's
why I do the OA in the wintertime. It maintains that low mite count.
And I might try Formic this winter because I can't do it in the summer, obviously, because it's too doggone hot, but a little bit later in the year. November.
What I'm doing is I use Apiguard on the ones that's got a high mite count, and my Hive VSH, the ones that have the high VSH that don't really need it right now, I'll take a frame out of the nukes, the smaller nukes, and I'll take a frame of brood out of the higher count that has the VSH, and I'll just swap. And them hatch out in that nuke. They take care of the mites to keep the mite load down when they hatch out. And then the ones that I move from the nuke over to the high VSH, they take care of the mites out of that one.
Right.
So it's just, instead of putting anything on the nukes, I just did it that way.
Yeah, I did see Mike. I saw Mike Berry's last video there, Mark, about his collapsing colonies.
Yeah.
My interweb.
Mine was acting up too.
But anyway,
But I'm still using ApiGuard though. You know, I still have high mount counts in a lot of them, just like anybody else.
With the ApiGuard, my concern is the temperature and humidity, and are you going to throw, or are they going to be absconding out into the trees? I mean, have you had that problem with that thing?
Not really. If it's really, really hot, I just, you know, if it's over 90, if it's staying at 90, it's okay. But if you get above 90, 95, I just hold back. I wouldn't use it. You know,
I'm going to try freezing it this year.
Yeah. And I use a full dose a lot of times. It just depends, really, what I'm going to put on there. But now ApiGuard don't work good in cool weather. So if you're waiting for cool weather to do ApiGuard, it hardens up in there. It don't do good. It does better in hot weather.
I'm going to, you know, there's a big guy out here that uses formic by the truckload. He freezes it right before he puts it on his hives. And
Really?
What it does is it slows the flash down, so it's not, you know, a big shock to the bees. Well, yeah. I thought about doing that with the ApiGuard, because I use ApiGuard, and I will be in September. I might put it in the freezer for a couple days and then see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to freeze. I don't think that gel will freeze.
I don't know. I've never tried that.
If it does, I'll just wait a day and let it thaw out. But
I know it turns hard because I've waited till, you know, October when the weather was cooler and tried it, and then go back a week later and it's just a pile of hard crust. Didn't do nothing.
Well, maybe I won't freeze it. But I have the strips in right now, and I have when I was doing my checks yesterday, I took a couple of frames out of the center of the top box, and I happened to look down, and I saw mites on those strips. And so after I got the sample of bees, I took the top box off, and I counted 28 mites on one strip and 27 on the other. And then the mite wash came out at 9. So I thought I was going to have a whole bunch in the mite wash. So I don't know if that means I got them, but that was the only one that it was an outlier. There was a ton of mites in there. Everybody else had 2s. I had a couple of 0s. I had a couple of 1s, a couple of 2s, 3s, all that. They were all in range. And then those strips will come off. See, last night I had my dates wrong, but strips will come off September 16th, and then the next weekend, the 23rd, I'm going to start with ApiGuard, as long as the weather's down. It's not as hot as they say it's going to be in the long range, and that's when I'm going to start. But I do 25 grams or whatever it is every 7 days for 4 weeks.
Now, my mite counts, they differ from one yard to the other, too, and it's big time difference. Yeah. I don't know why, but it does. You know, I can't point fingers because I don't know.
Now, with the ApiGuard, do you find it shutting the queen down?
I do, and I've started feeding now when I put it on. Real light syrup. I'm going to see what difference that makes.
Yeah,
I just started that.
Brood break.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. It's getting late here. I got to get up. So
Yeah, we'll go ahead and end the stream for this evening. Oh, there's Brian.
Okay,
Maybe
sure.
Brian will jump on here when we go to the green room of death. All right, guys. Well, tomorrow night we'll be on Lee's channel at 8:00, and looking forward to seeing all you guys there. And we will see you guys on the next live stream. You have a good one.
See you later.
Good night, everybody.